In this tutorial we're going to be covering a few of the extra tools in the Crease panel that we haven't looked at so far. So the first thing to do then is open up this Maya scene for your tutorial, and then if we right click on an edge, we'll select this edge loop and we'll press 3 on our keyboard to go to smooth preview. Then we'll hold shift right click and go to the Crease tool, and we'll just double click to load up the options here. Now obviously, as you know, you can slide along like this, and the first thing to do is notice that down the bottom here in your little information bar you can see how much you are creasing this by. And you'll notice how the maximum value here is listed as 2, but I can actually crease to a higher amount, and this depends on how many, this limit of 2 depends on how many subdivisions you're having in your model. So because this smooth mesh preview is subdividing this twice, that's why we have a limit of 2. So let's just quickly crease all of these edges like so. And as you remember, if we want to soften this off, we can just bring this down and you can watch your crease amount change there. Okay, so what about absolute and relative here then? So if we just select relative, what that will do is that will add to the crease that you already have on your model. So let's just put that there, and you notice how when you start to slide, that just carries on from where you had it before. If you go to absolute, that will reset it back to 0 and give you an absolute transformation. So obviously you can do all of these at once. So if you wanted to do your whole mesh like this, you can see you can use absolute to do it all at once. Now another useful tool is actually making a crease edge set. So let's try and get this to a reasonable number. Let's say we had this on our full amount of 2. Then what we can do is actually make a crease set, which will make this a lot easier to edit all these afterwards. So to do that, if we go to edit mesh and then find the crease set. So just remember, it's actually in Windows Relationship Editor crease sets. Then what we can do is, in fact, let's take off a couple of these. So we'll take off those ones, we'll just have those. We can go to New, and you can see it has an exact crease amount on it. And then if we select our other ones, we can also go to New, and you can see that has an amount on it too. So let's try changing this to 1, and you can see that changes. Say 0.2 just to make it a bit more obvious. You can also select a crease set like that. You go to select. At least I thought you could. There you go, it does work. So you can actually select them and do it by hand if you want, and so on. So you can see how essential this can actually be, because you can just come in here and set this exactly as you want. So it's really useful. Obviously you have stuff like you can remove, if we go to select, you can remove those as well, and so nothing's actually happening with that. And you can go to add as well to bring them back in. So now if we just put that back up to 2, see that changes again, we put it back to 0.2, and it goes back again as well. So that's a really essential thing. If we come back into our crease set here, one other thing I want to show you, if we double click this loop here, go to extend to crease components, what this should do is when you select, it should add the selection to that, but it never seems to work for me, so I'm not really that big on that. It might have changed because you now have this crease set editor, so I tend to just ignore that setting. So yeah, they're the kind of new settings in the crease set tool. It's mainly this that makes it really good to kind of work with anyway.